Hi, this is Perfect Place Entertainment, and you are watching Manch on Fire. Please stay tuned.
Okay, this is another installment of Manch on Fire. We're here with Mr. Richard Rosien. He's on the board of directors. He's actually a few things. You call him AKA Mr. Everything. We have a few topics, some provocative that we want to speak on right now.
Basically, a really good friend of mine came to the point where he could not deal with life the way things were going. His drinking was way out of control. His use of drugs was just ridiculous, and it came to pass that he just couldn't deal with anything. And he checked himself in there, which, quite honestly, was a major change in his life and has improved him to no end. He's gotten himself under control. Serenity Place did a wonderful job with him, and from there he went to the Farnham Center. But just that process where they had people there that he could talk to, that he could deal with, his life got organized, and it truly helped him in that process of changing his lifestyle and changing his addictive behaviors. One of the things that is truly unfortunate is that there is a vast amount of drug addiction and alcohol abuse. And a lot of people always assume, oh, well, we can fix it. I mean, look at Charlie Sheen. We can fix everything.
Yeah.
Well, we are watching somebody spiral into the ground.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he may think that he's absolutely brilliant and he may be able to do better than everybody else. But just watching this man fall apart in public is tragic, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, it's like a train wreck that everyone likes to see.
Oh, yeah. You always like to watch the engines go together and blow up, but you don't like to see the carnage afterwards.
True.
How he's going to come out at the end, Lord knows. I know for my friend, it has been very, very good. He has gotten his life together. He spends much more time with his two children. He's becoming more family oriented. He's got a good job, and he's working, and he can see the improvements. He knows he has an addiction problem, but he also has the tools now to handle and help that. And to that end, one of the things that the Portsmouth Pavilion in Portsmouth, there's Friendship House up in Bethlehem, New Hampshire, and there really aren't any others. You can, in some instances, check into certain hospitals that may have a clinic of sorts, but it really doesn't have the tools for the intervention, for that to help you to stop, to do the detoxification, to make sure that you're under control. It's just, you really need to find a special location. Serenity Place, luckily for us here in Manchester, is here for the people here, and it's got a waiting list. I mean, you have to call, and you have to call every day when you want to go in. I mean, they do an intake with you, and they decide that they're going to take you or not, but you have to call every day until the bed becomes available. And then once that bed is available, you have to go. It isn't like, well, I'll be there in 2 weeks. You're going to go. And that's the whole process, is if they can break that initial string of your contact in the streets to the alcohol or the drugs, where it's just not available, they detoxify you, and they start getting you to the point where you can see the reality of what you've been doing to yourself. And then from there you go to either outpatient or inpatient. They usually use the Farnham Center. I know they have a couple of other locations in the state that they can also use. But it's truly an unfortunate need. It'd be nice to sit here and say that society doesn't have addictive issues. We do. So to help people, we have to have some place for them to go.
Very, very
And
true.
Serenity Place is the one here.
Yeah. Rich, just in case of the people who may have lived a sheltered life and don't know the correlation between drug addiction and crime here on the rugged streets of Manchester, can you explain to these people how the correlation comes together?
Sure. It usually starts with youth, unfortunately, and to become accepted in their peer group while we have to go do things. Some of it is a process of escapism, so we go out and they start using drugs. I mean, they use marijuana, which I don't think is all that bad, but they start using marijuana, then we progress on to pills, we progress on to cocaine, we progress on to heroin. what happens, unfortunately, is all this stuff costs. Well, if you're a teenager, you don't have a lot of income, so what do you have to do? Well, you start raiding mom's purse or dad's wallet, or we take stuff that's sitting around and we go sell it, or we trade it, or we go and do some petty theft, like we do a little bit of shoplifting. Maybe we get caught, maybe we don't. You end up honing those skills to become a better criminal.
Very true.
Because your addiction is telling you, I need more.
Yeah.
One of the things that's truly unfortunate out of all of them is cocaine, where, yes, you can go out and you can get some and you can enjoy that high and it's just wonderful. The next time, to get to that point of elation, you have to take more.
Yep.
And more and more, and it never ceases.
Yeah. Very true.
To keep up with that, well, it can become pretty expensive. And if it becomes expensive and you can't function because you can't maintain a job because you're so drug addicted that you're absolutely dysfunctional, you start doing criminal acts. We see lots of it. There's lots of thievery. There's lots of strong arming of people. There's lots of breaking and entering. And it's unfortunate, but the two of them are tied together. A few months ago, there were lots of break-ins in the city. Well, there were lots of break-ins because people needed money because their drug habits were getting out of control, and the city police and the state police had been doing a better job and taking people out of circulation, so the cost of buying those drugs went up because there just wasn't any available. And if you're going to get it, well, the market does determine those things. Unfortunate and nasty fact of life, but that's what happens. Serenity Place is the first step in breaking that cycle.
Yeah. So the Serenity Place is definitely something that people need to know about. Also, some parents, Rich, you know, a lot of their kids can go right into the medicine cabinet. In case,
sure.
There's a lot of parents out there who don't know that. So hopefully you can touch on that a little bit. How they do.
One of the larger, I guess, larger groups. One of the larger, I guess, larger groups of drugs that's being used these days are prescription drugs. As people get older, they need painkillers, they need this, they need that. They need stuff because they're having anxiety attacks. They need something because they've got stress. Well, some of the side effects of those drugs are pleasant to individuals. And what happens is that kids know, and they're very bright, I mean, they can go online because most all of them have a computer, and mom and dad have no idea what they're looking at on the computer to start with.
Yeah, definitely.
So they go online and they find out, oh, well, you know, if I take this medication, and gee, mom has that in the cabinet, or dad is using that all the time. Well, look at the side effects, and oh, well, maybe we can take that, and we crush them up, they snort them or inhale them, they mix them into something and drink them. One of the larger ones that people use are Percocets, which are given out quite readily, honestly. And to some individuals, okay, they know how to handle them. To a teenager, no. They don't know what they're doing, necessarily. They just know that if they take it, they'll get this feeling of elation and euphoria, and it'll make them look really cool with their buddies and stuff. And, well, you know, look what I'll sell you one. And all of a sudden, they become a kingpin of sorts.
Yeah.
And they look better in the group. Well, you know, he can get stuff for us.
Yeah.
It's a downward spiral.
It definitely is.
It's bad.
Yeah.
The prescription drug market has become considerably worse. That seems to be one of the larger areas that law enforcement has been looking at because it's just outdated. And the other side that goes with it, the doctors are not innocent in this process either. You have lots of doctors out there that are just wantonly writing prescriptions that they know don't need to be done because they can get money for 1,000 Percocets.
Exactly.
And they sell them off.
Yep, exactly. So there's definitely some issues as far as drugs. We definitely know that. There shouldn't be a viewer who doesn't know that. If you don't know it,
And they sell them off.
yep, exactly. So there's definitely some issues.